Hey there. For this video, I just wanted to show you my quick and easy way of doing some brick walls from foam core board. I hope you get something out of this video and I hope you enjoy it. I like to use black foam core board when I'm doing brick walls. It's just a nice dark base to paint on. It helps add to realism, makes for less work. And just draw up some nice thin horizontal lines depending on the size of the bricks that you want to make. Whatever scale you're using, it's up to you. So yeah, the measurements are up to you. I eyeball mine. I just guess the size of the brick and I work from there. I like to use a ruler and try and do it as quickly as I can while being as neat as possible. And this is one of the best ways. Just every second line, jump it. Give yourself a little break now and then because you're going to have a brain fart. And once you start making mistakes in a row like that, you're going to throw the whole wall off. I can see that by the time I got to the other end, the ruler was nice and straight with the end of the wall, so that's a good sign that it wasn't crooked. Sometimes it's hard to tell until you've finished with these things and you realise you've made an awful mistake. When you get to the edges, if you're going to have exposed corners, just round them off a little. And then screw up some foil. And very lightly, because it's foam core, it's already kind of pitted looking and very porous looking, so you don't really need to go ham on it with the foil. But I'm doing it just to soften the little gaps in between where the mortar's going to be. It softens around the edge of the brick this way as well. Adds that little bit of extra something, which is nice. I did this for a while because I really did want to soften those bricks out a bit. I'm doing this with a very light touch. Foam core is, it can be fragile when you're playing around with it. It's got a sort of a brittle shell to it, so you don't need to go too hard. You can see how it's softened all around the bricks and it's still made some nice little indentations. And yeah, I'm going to put down some burnt sienna. Actually, this one's a red ochre. I'm using all very natural earthy colours for this, and I'm just going to use a circular pattern. I'm just doing a very heavy dry brush because I don't want to fill in all the lines and indentations I've just made in the brickwork. And also doing a circular pattern, you'll avoid making brush strokes, especially if your paint's a little bit too heavy. And then sporadically kind of dab it around a little heavier, because see that black of the foam core board where it's a little lighter with the paint, you can see it pulling through and that darkness coming through, and it kind of looks like a darker brick. So, you know, and it may look a little dirty, that kind of thing. It just gives it a nice natural look on its own. This one is the burnt sienna. Actually, that one's the terracotta. They're just all burnt sienna, red ochre, terracotta, and just a brown. I really want to stick with a very kind of, not neutral, but very natural kind of looking bricks for this. I'm not being perfect with my paintwork either. Some a little heavy, some a little light. I'm a lighter paint that I'm putting on. You can see the little, indentations coming up underneath with that red that I previously put down. If it's too heavy or not quite right, I just even it out with my finger. Burnt sienna. You can see that it's just a nice slight difference. Nothing standing out too much with it. Once it's nice and dry, I'm just going to put some polyfiller on. It's really so lovely and soft and light, this stuff. It's almost like a dry icing sugar. Well, dry as in icing that's been made up, but it's really dry and light. It's lovely. I just very gently ice the wall. I'm kind of just, feather touch putting it on. I don't want to go shoving it on and, just being heavy-handed with it. And if you're very heavy-handed with it, you're going to scrape paint off. So you just want to very lightly put it on. And when you've lightly put it on, you want to very lightly shave it off with, you're using a knife. You could use a sharp steel ruler or a palette knife or whatever, but just very gently, because you will strip paint away. And it's not a terrible thing. It's helping age the wall, but you don't want to get carried away trying to remove it. I'm leaving nice little gaps there. I like the look of that. I've not done that. It was kind of an accident while I was filming, but I love the look of the lack of mortar in those bits there, so I'll leave some exposed like that. You have to work reasonably quick. I've done this a few times in the past, so I'm not too fast, but the first time you do it, just work a little quickly, because this filler will dry. It goes crumbly fairly quick, and in probably about a 5 to 10 minute period it's going to start drying on the wall. So yeah, just smooth it down, scrape it off as lightly and gently as you can do it. I let this wall dry as best I could, and it still scraped the paint off, but it's cheap paint, and I've applied it to a plasticky foam, so it's to be expected, I would suppose. You can see the wall really coming to life after putting this down. It's quite a rewarding job too. It's enjoyable to do this one. All those little tiny impressions that were made by the foil all coming through. And still the individual colours of the bricks. You can use your hand just to, I don't know, it kind of balls it up a little bit. It does still, as you can see, take paint away. I think the small amount of moisture that's in the filler is probably helping the paint come back to a slightly liquid state almost. That was terribly unscientific, but I didn't know how else to explain it. That looks nice. I love those little gaps in there. They look really good. Almost looks like the brick's going to fall out. I went and used a knife and took away some more of the filler, so it just gives it even more of that look of brickwork sort of coming apart. It looks very kind of old industrial, which is really nice. I mean, if you wanted to make a brand new brick wall for a doll's house, you wouldn't go quite as detailed as this. You'd just simply paint it and fill it very neatly. But I really like this, and I love how every single panel you make would be completely unique. A very enjoyable job to do. And I decided to dirty up the bottom of it a little bit. Can't even remember why I decided to do this, but I did it anyway. I just put a bit of the brown black kind of watered down acrylic wash onto it and let it bleed up a little bit. I mean, you can see it's actually coloured over the filler, so it looks like the mortar's gone. But once it dried, I scraped over it again anyway, and the white mortar beneath came back up through, so it wasn't an issue. And a bit of black, kind of looks like black mould and grime and that kind of thing. I think I might have to perfect this technique. I think it actually might be just a little too watery for the wall because of the mortar, so it's making contact with it, with the filler. The contact of the watery paint with the filler is making it a little bit of a filler paint combo, which is not ideal, but a less watery paint would probably solve that issue. Once it comes out dry, it's quite nice. Be nice to do a little bit of moss or something like that on the wall as well, a bit of lichen or, yeah, it's a nice thing to play around with, and it's got a great realism, and it's really quick and easy. You could do a huge amount to create a nice building. I hope you were able to take something away from this one. I know that I learned some things. You never stop learning when it comes to this kind of thing. I think it's a wonderful journey. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you next time.